Good morning, everybody. This is Dr. Serge, and welcome to another episode of Search for the Truth. So, our goal with these videos is to educate people, empower people, and get the knowledge to take in charge their health in order for them to get better. And today, I'm really excited to have my following guest, Mr. Norbert. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Serge. Bonjour à toi. Merci bien.
So thank
Plaisir.
you for taking the time to be with us this morning. I know it's early, but this is great. And if you guys have any question for my guest this morning, there's a chat. You can ask a question in the chat, and I will ask Mr. Norbert the question. So first of all, today we're going to talk about 5G, cell phones, EMFs, the dangers of them, and what we need to do, right? But I would like to talk a little bit about yourself. So can you tell us who you are and why you have this passion to educate people with this, with different knowledge, actually?
Well, I try to keep it short. At the age of 3 years, in a car accident, I left my body and I had out-of-body experience, which repeated again later at the age of 10. At the age of 16, I became in contact with alternative medicine at the age of 10. Sorry, at the age of 10, I got in contact with alternative medicine, not knowing at this time what was going on. At the age of 16 again. So I decided at the age of 30, I lived it, that alternative medicine became my passion besides having my regular daytime job. So I developed that passion. And when my first grandson was born, him and I, we were in a bad shape, in a very bad shape. And I found out that the main reason for the bad shape was, in his case, a mental stage, but as well, poor water and electromagnetic radiation. And I had, I don't know whether you know what Bell's palsy is. What a lot of people don't know, you have here on the side in the skull a small hole through which a nerve runs, Bell's palsy. And I had an inflammation, which I later found out. I remember when I was a child, my father had a stroke and his face was kind of squished and his lips and his eyes and so on. And I had the same reaction. And it scared everything out of me, you can imagine.
Yeah.
And when I looked into this, I found out that this was the side I was holding my cell phone, at this time 4G. And I realized that this was the condition, that the cell phone inflamed the nerve. And in this very small channel, the flame was squished in and created that reaction. So contacting lots of doctors, I found out that nobody knew what they're talking about, and with my grandson. So I decided to look around for solutions to help with electromagnetic radiation, because every cell phone to work and Wi-Fi needs electromagnetic radiation. And I found out that people don't know. And I found out that doctors on university was not educated in that subject. So I trained myself, I educated myself. I must say, I've never been to university or college. I left high school, and the world and good people I met were my teachers, the street. So I started to develop technology for myself and for my son, for my family, not expecting that would ever become a business like it is today. So I started to help myself and fellow men to develop a technology to protect us from these electromagnetic radiation, because nowadays everybody has a cell phone.
Yeah.
In America, we have a population of give and take 330 million people, and we have more than 350 million cell phones.
Wow.
That's pretty much the same all over the world. We have more cell phones basically in most countries than people population. So we can say we have nowadays about 7-8 billion cell phones in the world. When I started, it was more innocent. Not everybody had a cell phone, and teenagers had no cell phones, and children had no cell phones.
Yeah.
So when we say 330 million cell phones, 350 million cell phones, the market is still growing. And it scares the heck out of me. The market is growing through children, babies. Okay?
Yeah.
Because nowadays you go down the street, the mother has the baby in a stroller, and the baby has its own smartphone and tablet and so on, entertaining itself.
Yeah.
Okay, that is okay.
It's
People don't
crazy.
know.
Yeah.
People don't know, and I understand that because the cell phone electromagnetic radiation doesn't smell, doesn't taste, except very few people who feel it. The majority of people cannot feel it. Okay.
Yeah.
There came just a message in from somebody who says, I don't take 4G, I take 5G. I'm sorry, you're on the wrong track, lady here. I cannot see your message anymore, but I saw it for free for a very short time. We have only a short amount of time today. So there's much more to say. But I have to start at the basics so that we can build up. If you want to have me back in later shows, we can build up. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's talk today about cell phones only. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So if somebody like this lady says, oh, I'm not going for 5G, I do 4G, then you don't know what's going on. Okay. A quick one up front. If you have no cell phone, if you don't have any Wi-Fi, it doesn't matter. Because where you live, your neighbors have Wi-Fi. The people above and below you, next to your house. When you go on a computer, you get 10, 20 offers for Wi-Fi. And here's my first piece of practical information. My target is at the end of the show, everybody must have a practical information to think along or to use. If you go on the internet and give in the search antennasearch.com, antennasearch.com, and to give in your address, you will see in split seconds how many towers and transmitters are in a 3-mile range.
Yeah.
In my case, it's about 100 towers and 300 transmitters.
So are you saying that today it's the most impossible to not be surrounded and impacted by those 5Gs and 4G towers?
It's impossible.
It's impossible. Unless you live in a country, I guess.
No, not even the country. And our good friend Elon Musk is making sure we're going to kill you there as well, as he puts 20, 30,000 satellites in orbit to rain down 5G on the planet, right?
Yes, I've heard of that. It's ridiculous.
Well, people like him, and sorry, but I say this very clear and frankly, I'm too old to beat around the bush. People like him and Bill Gates are psychopaths. And you cannot argue with psychopaths, you know. They're
So
unreal.
let's start basic a little bit. We talk about 4G, 5G, we talk about frequencies, right? So what's the difference with these different frequencies? We have the infrared, the microwave. I mean, it's really confusing, right? So 5G, based on what I understand, is more powerful than 4G. And now we talk about 6G. So can you help us a little bit to understand these different
Okay, so
terminology?
first of all, the 4G, 5G, 3G, 6G means only the new generation of products, okay?
Okay.
It doesn't have any technical background as such. The 4G is dangerous. In the last 10 years, people should have gone over the barricade revolution if they would know what's going on. And when I give workshops worldwide, which typically last a day. And 10 years ago, I spoke about this in the workshops, and people thought I'm a lunatic because they said, what do you want, right? Because nobody wants to give up the cell phone. So the 4G penetrates deeper in materials, and it's at a bit of a lower frequency. 5G is in a higher frequency, and it doesn't penetrate so easy. This is why in 5G, they have to have every 300 feet a transmitter.
I see.
That's
a lot.
Yes, the transmitter can be a tower, which we can see, you know, but there are a lot of small transmitters, which are like in small antennas, okay? And they can be on top of a roof, they can be on street signs, on a red light, on a lamppost.
I've seen those, yes.
Yes. So what happened is when they shut us down for Corona, at that time period, without big attraction, media didn't report about it. They started to cover the world with 5G towers and transmitters.
Okay.
Guy.
I like what you're saying, because I've been following the pandemic for a little while in the 5G, and here in Houston, there was 5 towers 2 years ago in the whole Houston area for 5G. And now since the pandemic, there's hundreds of thousands actually. Here's my question to you. I wanted to ask you at the end, but you brought up the topic. You don't have to answer, but do you feel there's a connection with the 5G and the pandemic?
Absolutely.
Can you elaborate a little bit more about this?
Well, Serge, we are a bit in a conflict of interest. I would love to be on your show for 2, 3, 4 hours to cover everything, but we just got 30 minutes. I have a special show, which I give now a workshop publicly, which is the headline, Connecting the Dots Between COVID-19, 5G, and Vaccinations.
Okay, I need you to be back on my show. We're gonna schedule a time for you to come back. But let's get back to the cell phone issue.
I'll be happy to explain that. But there's a clear connection between 5G and COVID and the vaccinations.
Okay. So let's keep that topic for a few weeks when you come back. So let's get back on the cell phone issue.
Okay, so nobody wants to give up the cell phone. Everybody has a cell phone, right?
Yes.
And people are in illusion if they think I have it on the speakerphone, it's not dangerous. That is nonsense. The cell phone, which I prove in my workshop, has about an effective radius of 7 feet, 6 feet.
I see.
So as soon as a cell phone comes closer than, let's say 7 feet, it already harms your body. We know we have the proof. Dr. Neil Cherry from New Zealand in 2003 already proved electromagnetic radiation causes cancer. Yeah. And I have a very easy question. Why does every third person now die of cancer? And for me, there's only one logic explanation. The main reason, there are 2 or 3 side reasons. The main reason is electromagnetic radiation. So I believe that a lot of your listeners may have bought over time a protective unit to stick on their cell phones.
Yes.
When I started my journey, you remember when I started with my problems, I looked around and I bought all products available in the market over the years. And I tested them. And I can say from the bottom of my heart, and which I prove in my workshop, 99% of these products do not work.
And I concur with you because I use muscle testing, and I think you do as well. And when I test those products with cell phones and iPads, they simply do not work.
Yes.
But your product works really nicely, actually.
Thank you. And so what I did, I'm in kinesiology for 40 years. And I could only prove my product, the quality, through kinesiology. And some people accept it, some people not, which I understand.
Yes, I understand that.
So I went a different route. There is an institute in Austria called BESA, B-E-S-A. And I gave BESA all my products to test, which is an interesting story on its own. And BESA scientifically tested all my products. And they gave me 1,500 pages of research and testings and expertise and certifications.
Wow. So
all my products are certified that they do what I say they do. And on my website, people can see those tests and can read them and can send me emails and I can explain them. So one indicator is if somebody says, I block the electromagnetic radiation, you already know that they're lying or they don't know what they're talking about. If you drive a combustion chamber car with gas, you know the car will not drive without gas.
Correct.
If you want to use Wi-Fi or electromagnetic or cell phones, you must have electromagnetic radiation. Otherwise, you cannot make a cell phone call. So if somebody says, I block the electromagnetic radiation, then I could not make a cell phone call. Now, we have a natural electromagnetic radiation in us of 60 to 80 microwatt per square meter. As you measure the speed of a car in miles and your weight in pounds, you measure electromagnetic radiation internationally in microwatts per square meter. So we have in us 60 to 80 microwatts in us all the time of electromagnetic radiation. House biologists say you shouldn't have more than 100, 120. House biologists say more than 1,000 is extremely danger, equal cancer, more than 1,000. If you make a cell phone call, you have easy 2,000 to 4,000.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
If you ride an electric car, you have easy 4,000 to 10,000.
Wow.
The university in Mainz is a city in Germany. The university made a test. They tested people in electric cars, their brain and heart functions. The results were devastating.
So you're saying that we shouldn't be driving those new cars, those green cars?
Absolutely not.
Wow.
It's a scam anyway. Electric cars have nothing to do with saving energy. This is BS, the biggest lie. Another show, we'll talk about that.
Yeah.
What the truth is about electric cars. It's not saving energy. Okay, it's a dirty business. We'll
It
talk about
is.
this.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so the cell phone is dangerous the moment you activate it, whether you make a call or not, and you have it close to you. Between
So
up to
what
2000
what about having an airplane mode? Does
doesn't
that
matter.
count?
No,
No? Okay.
no. Up to 2010, the amount of people who had hip transplants went up 4 times.
Oh, wow, really?
Okay, we know that electromagnetic radiation, cell phones, reduces the sperm in man.
Yes.
We know it reduces the fertility in women.
Yeah.
We know that children don't have what we call a brain barrier developed.
Yeah.
Okay, and the electromagnetic radiation cuts right through. A friend of mine was working for the company called Ericsson, which was at the beginning of the cell phone move, the biggest company in the world.
Yeah.
And he confirmed to me that they at Ericsson made tests. They took pigs, put a cell phone against the head, let them run around, activated the cell phone. Then they slaughtered the pig and cut open the brain to see how far the radiation penetrated into the brain. And they already knew it. The same like the cigarette industry. I compared to the cigarette industry. They always knew what they were doing, but they're not promoting it. Now, there's a funny thing, funny in quote. There are what you call a specific absorption rate with cell phone. It's a kind of limit, okay? How
Yeah.
strong can the cell phone be? Like a governor, it's a limit, okay? And the limitation is giving out, I must read it, I'm used to it in German language, by the International Commission on Non-Ionizing Radiation Protection. International Commission on Non-Ionizing Radiation Protection. They publish what is the maximum strength of a signal the human body can bear. Okay. Now, what is funny to know, first of all, this is a side office of the mobile phone industry. The fox in the hen house. The mobile phone industry has an office which sets the standard how strong the phone can be.
That's ironic.
I mean, it's a joke.
It's a
Now,
joke.
when the president of the company, Professor Bernhard, was asked in Germany, why are these limits so high? People must get sick on the long run.
Yeah.
He said, you cannot invent that. If we reduce those limitations, in quote, to be more healthy, we kill the business.
So they already know. They've known for years.
Oh, yes.
That's crazy.
That electromagnetic radiation is dangerous was already known in the 1940s. Okay? In the
And it's
1940s.
wow. And it's really unfortunate because I see people wearing their cell phone like over the heart or in the
Oh,
bras,
crazy.
on the hip.
And
It's
under the pillow on the bed as an alarm clock.
yes.
They don't miss a message. So the problem is, I have one show which is called the main invention of the last 200 years are harming this planet and people and plants. All major invention. All major inventions are sexy, are fluffy, are entertaining, but
Yeah.
they come with a price.
Yeah.
Okay? They come with a price. And we don't live with nature, we live against nature, and we think we can get away with it.
Yeah.
This is impossible, guys. Of course, we like to have electricity. Of course, we like to have cell phones. But the point for me always was, and this is where my work started, I blame the industries to release a product without testing the negative effects, possibly, and telling the people.
Yeah.
so that people can make a choice. There, for example, there are, I don't say the names now, I don't want to bash anyone. There are mats you lay on and you plug into electricity and you lay on whatever, they should do good to you. All right. They may do good to you on one side, may. But on the other side, you're pumping your body up with electromagnetic radiation voluntarily. And
Are you talking about the like PEMF technology or something like that?
well, as I said, I have a principle. I don't talk negative about other companies. I'm just pointing out, in the moment you have electrical plug,
Yeah,
you create electromagnetic radiation.
correct.
My mother, when I was a child, many, many moons ago, we lived in the countryside, very cold in the winter. My mother had an electrical blanket for wintertime. Okay?
Yeah,
As soon as electrical plug is there, you create electromagnetic radiation. Now, where do we have electromagnetic radiation? We have it in the cell phone. We have it in Wi-Fi. We have it in computers. We have it in every screen, laptop,
yeah.
these iPads, and we have them in GPS.
It's everywhere.
And now they put a new radar in the new cars. When you change with the new cars the lane, you get a signal, a beep, 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 or even when I rented a car, it counterstirs a bit.
Yeah,
Okay. Now, this is a radar which is built in. They don't ask you, they put the radar in. And you say, oh, that's cool. It gives me a warning. Yeah, but at the same time, it kills your body over the long term. All these products harm our body. Again, why is every third person dying of cancer? Why we have the drastic increase in diabetes?
yeah,
One of the reasons diabetes is increasing drastically is electromagnetic radiation and the bad lights we're using, fluorescent lights, because they handicap body functions. And the fact then you create diabetes, okay?
yeah,
So cell phone, what you have to do is, whether it's my company or some other company, I don't care. I did not these developments to make money. I made it to help mankind.
yeah.
Finally, I'll make some money. Will I ever get the money back I invested in it? I don't think so in my lifetime, because I did 10 years of research and trials and error. And all my products, by the way, are made in Germany. So I designed this fellow here. It's a very thin, small, like a bit like a credit card, but thinner and smaller. You just stash it between your cell phone and the protective cover. And it's guaranteed for 5 years. And again, the BISA Institute in Austria has tested it. And you take the cover of your cell phone,
Yeah.
you just put it there and put your cell phone on it. And that's it, guaranteed for 5 years. So they tested it. You can see the test on my website. And if another company really does same thing, I'm happy, because there cannot be many good enough companies.
Yeah.
Let me say, beating my drum like myself and others. With 10 million shitty products on this planet, we need several hundred manufacturers which are basing their business on ethics and not on making money.
Yeah.
Companies don't care whether you die or not.
So so it's really interesting that you come up with that. I've been using it for years. Actually, I've known you for years, and it works really good. I have one for my house. I have one for my cell phone, for my screens. But why don't companies include that kind of technology with the phone? That would make things all resolved, right?
Yeah.
I don't get that.
I tell you something. When I travel the world in workshops, and I teach these things, and I demonstrate them on people, so people can feel the difference. They don't need to believe me. Besides the test, right? Everybody says, "Easy." Now Apple's going to put this in all phones to become a millionaire.
Yeah.
They will not do it, because if they would do it, they would admit that all the time before what they sold was dangerous.
Yeah. Again, it's a financial, political decision.
Of course, they would have lawsuits through the wazoo.
So how does this work? How does your technology work? Does it neutralize the EMF? How does that work?
Okay. First of all, on my website is which is protectpro.net, the English version. I have a German version, protectpro.net. On my website is a button called Protect Pro Technology. And I have written down as much as I want to say, and I can't say, what I'm doing. to make people understand. Okay, so people can read this very intense. However, to answer your question, basically, in the electromagnetic radiation is a negative frequencies which harm the body.
Yeah.
And I'll address my technology to nullify these negative frequencies. So if you have let's say a frequency has a +2, right? Which is negative, let's say. Then I give a -2, +2, negative -2 gives nil.
Correct. Yeah.
That's a basic explanation. I explain in more detail there on my website. So we nullify this negative information, but you can still use the Wi-Fi frequencies technically for the phone call. But we stop these frequencies to harm your body. And have wonderful tests from BISA showing functions of the human's body before being exposed to electromagnetic radiation and after being covered with my technology. So we must understand that the priority on this planet is greed, money, control. It's not ethics. It's not ethics. It's not what's best for the survival of mankind. If that would be the case, a lot of things change. I give a seminar about water. I guarantee you that 99% of your listeners now are all dehydrated, no matter how much water they drank.
Yeah.
Okay.
I agree with you.
Okay. So when I treat, I cannot treat patients. I'm not a doctor, by the way. I'm not a doctor. I cannot give medical advice. These are all my personal findings. But I'm a life coach. So when people come to me, I'll test them whether they're dehydrated. 99% are dehydrated. Full stop. Okay.
Yeah.
Regardless how much water they drink, they have wrong information what healthy water is. I have a separate show about healthy water. 98% of all people I test have problems with their thyroids, thymus, and pineal gland. They're all weak. Again, main reason, among others, there are 2-3 other reasons, is electromagnetic radiation. And what a lot of people don't know, that 5G is attacking the pineal gland. Okay? And the pineal gland, which some people call the third eye, is responsible not only for creating melatonin, but is as well responsible for mental, physical conditions.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the interesting thing is that in this so-called COVID times, no pregnant women have COVID. And the reason is my humble opinion that a pregnant woman has about 3 times the volume of melatonin than a non-pregnant woman.
I see.
So there are a lot of things which combine and get together with each other to see the entire picture and get a conceptual understanding. For the listeners now, whether you use my product or somebody else's, which proved that it works, it doesn't matter. You have to protect yourself. Let's start with a cell phone, which is the easiest and cheapest. And this, by the way, is guaranteed for 5 years. So protect yourself so that you can make cell phone calls and can use this thing, which is like knife and fork. You cannot live without it anymore. It's what it is, right?
Yeah.
But that's the basics you have to do. And you have to know, for example, that no insurance company in the world will insure you against electromagnetic radiation.
That's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, it proves they know the danger of it.
Yeah, exactly. It does, actually.
So if you keep these things in mind, do not, and if you don't have these protections, do not use the cell phone in your sleeping room, not under your pillow. Don't wear it on your body more than you need, if you need it. I see women put it in their bras and so on. It makes me nuts. Yeah, you know. So the antennasearch.com, please put it in your computer, your address. Get the reality. For us to learn, we must first get the information to make good decisions. The more information we have, the more solid is our decisions. Yeah. And if you see how many these towers are around you, you go nuts, and they're getting more and more every day. They doubled in my address over the last 2 years. Okay.
It's getting insane, and we need to do something, like you said, to protect our body and your health against that technology.
Well, we have a natural electromagnetic radiation, which we can talk some other show, which is called geopathic zones. Which,
Yes, that's something we didn't have time to cover, but that would be great to talk about. Man, you're gonna have to come back for several episodes.
well, I better stay over on your couch and do it every morning.
Yeah, I know, right? Listen, our time is up. Anything else you want to add before we close this?
Well, I thank you for the invitation and having a chance to talk to people. My job is to follow my call and to help mankind. And I'm always open. You can write me emails. You can call me. I try to answer everything. I have average 50 emails and phone calls a day, and it's getting more because people who 3, 4, 5 years ago didn't listen to what I said. Now they
Yeah.
remember me and say, "Hey, you said something about this and that, right?"
Yeah.
People need information.
Yeah.
And
They
if you
do.
don't have information, you cannot make good decisions.
Correct. So we have your website running across the bottom. You guys, you can check his products. You can order his products on his website. You can reach out to him. Like he said, the goal is to get the knowledge out there so we can actually start doing something to protect ourselves and our families and friends.
And your listeners, if they put in the code SG for
Yes.
your name, then we do free handling and shipping. Okay.
Awesome. Thank you for doing that for our listeners. Really appreciate it. Awesome. So thank you, Mr. Norbert. I really appreciate it. And you're going to have to come back in a few weeks to talk about something else.
You have a list, whatever you want to talk about, I'm
Yeah.
there. Logic would be the next show, perhaps, how to protect your home.
Yes.
And when
I
you
like
run,
this question. Yeah.
when you run the streets, okay?
Okay.
Because that's the next big hurdle.
Okay. Let's come back in a few weeks to talk about that.
Whenever
Awesome.
you want me, I'll be there. Thanks
Okay.
a lot, everybody. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a good day. And we'll talk to you later.